Photographer Atif Saeed nearly got himself killed in order to capture this photo, which was taken just moments before the lion tried to attack him. He drove up to the lion, sat on the ground next to his car, and left the door open. The door being left open was the only reason he was able to escape unharmed. In case anyone is wondering what happened to the dinosaurs, here's what a baby blue heron looks like. The Bajau people of Southeast Asia are considered sea nomads. They have no homes, money, or nationalities, and they spend 60% of their time underwater. They can go spearfishing at depths greater than 200 feet without scuba gear or oxygen tanks. They've even developed much larger spleens than the average human thanks to evolution. Frankie Muniz has had 9 concussions throughout his life and now suffers from severe memory loss. His condition is so bad that he doesn't even remember being on the TV show Malcolm in the Middle. According to ancient beliefs, birthmarks show how you were killed in your past life. A man named Michael Paul was on his way home from church when he decided to casually crack his neck like any other time. But afterwards, he suddenly started sweating profusely and then went pale. By the time Paul could receive medical care, he had already slipped into a coma. Soon afterwards, Michael Paul had died from cracking his neck. During World War I, Hungarian soldier Paul Kern was shot in the head and lost part of his frontal lobe. However, instead of killing him, the gunshot otherwise made him unable to sleep. And as a result, the man stayed awake for the next 40 years until his death in 1955. A few doctors theorized that Kern likely fell asleep for seconds at a time throughout the day without even realizing it. Other doctors believed that the bullet tore away the part of his brain that needed to be replenished by sleep. But to this day, researchers still can't explain how he was able to survive for so long without sleeping. Michael Jackson avoided tragedy on 9/11 thanks to his mother. He had a meeting at the top of one of the towers that morning, but missed his appointment because he overslept. The night before, he had been up late talking to his mom on the phone until 3 a.m. In France, you can legally marry a dead person as long as you can prove that they planned on marrying you before they died. On June 11, 2019, Illinois teenager Riley Horner was accidentally kicked in the head. As a result of the injury, her memory resets every 2 hours and she wakes up every day thinking it's June 11th. In 1998, 2-year-old Harrison Johnson was stung 432 times after disturbing a yellow jacket's nest in Tampa, Florida. Harrison's parents asked for neighborhood children and local church members to pray for him, but they didn't call for medical help until he stopped breathing more than 7 hours later. The parents belong to a religion that looks down on hospitals because they believe that doctors practice witchcraft. Doctors say the little boy could have been saved, but likely died an exquisitely painful death as a result of his parents' negligence. In 1964, the U.S. Army performed an experiment to see if 3 young physics students could design an atomic bomb. They had no specific knowledge of nuclear weapons and were only given access to publicly available documents. Within 3 years, they succeeded. Over 160 years ago, a Frenchman and a Russian shot at each other during the Crimean War and their bullets collided. During World War II, a Nazi officer ordered his soldiers to hold their fire to allow for the rescue of an American soldier who had stepped on a landmine. When no one came for help, the officer went to rescue the soldier but stepped on a landmine himself. In 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson was driving to a friend's party when he crashed his car into a ditch. He called his dad to come pick him up, but he couldn't find him, despite knowing the area very well. Eventually, Brandon started walking and said he was approaching something that looked like a city up the road. Suddenly, Brandon yelled, "Oh shit!" and his phone went silent. His car was later found abandoned in the ditch, just as he had described it. But no city could have been anywhere near the area he was walking in. Brandon Swanson is still missing to this day, with very little evidence found since.